The Apple Watch Series 8. Overall, it was probably one of the more disappointing announcements to come out of the Far Out event. It got a couple of improvements over the Series 7, but nothing too groundbreaking. Its arrival has definitely been outshined by the arrival of the Apple Watch Ultra. But I've never owned a smartwatch before, so I decided to give one a try this time around. So here are my thoughts on the Apple Watch Series 8 as a first-time smartwatch user. The big changes this time around are the new temperature sensor and car crash detection. The temperature sensor is primarily used to enable more advanced cycle tracking features. Otherwise, the Series 8 offers the same sizes, band compatibility, water and dust resistance, and other features of the Apple Watch Series 7. Of course, I had nothing to compare it to at this point, but setting up the Series 8 was incredibly simple, just bringing it near my iPhone. But you only deal with that setup once, so what really matters is day-to-day use. I didn't add too many apps to my watch. I added the WatchTube app to play around with, mostly because I thought the idea of watching YouTube videos on a watch is just silly, but I've stuck almost entirely with the built-in apps. I have used YouTube Music on occasion to start music playback though. The most useful part of the Apple Watch for me has been the simplicity of viewing notifications. Now, rather than taking the time to take my phone out of my pocket to check it for every last notification, I can just glance down at my watch. Then I can choose to either dismiss it, respond directly from my watch, or take out my phone to respond. It's super easy for me to just pick up my phone and start doom scrolling social media, so having the watch has helped me reduce that a bit, whether I'm reacting to tweets, Slack messages, or texts. That's been my favorite part of the watch so far. My next favorite has to be the fitness rings. Now, I'm no fitness nut, but having a wearable that makes it super easy to not just set goals, but share those goals with friends has helped me to be a little bit more mindful of just how active I'm being. There's a move, exercise, and stand goal for each day that you can adjust, and plenty of different achievements for reaching and exceeding those goals. Personally, I've been biking a lot more recently as one way to reach my goals. I've found it really nice to keep track of my heart rate, distance traveled, and calories burnt during every bike ride. I've never really been drawn to fitness trackers before, but having the fitness tracking features as part of a smart device has been great. One of the simpler things that I didn't expect, but ended up loving, is getting directions on my watch. Of course, I don't actually look down at the tiny screen while I'm driving. I have Apple CarPlay, and I have my map and directions on my car's screen. But I prefer the visual directions over the audio directions. I just don't like when it lowers the volume or pauses my music or podcast in order to read out my next turn. It's a minor pet peeve, but it's enough that I disable any sounds from the map, at the risk of missing a turn if I'm somewhere I'm not familiar with. But having a watch is the perfect solution for this, because it will ding and use haptics to notify me of turns without interrupting what I'm listening to. It's a rather minor thing, sure, but it was an unexpectedly great addition to my drives that I think a lot of people haven't thought about. I also tried out a lot of different watch faces so far, and I'm not really sure if I have a favorite. I really like the look of the astronomy face, but I ended up switching over to the modular face, and that's the one I've stuck with so far. If you have any faces you would recommend, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll definitely give them a try. I've filled up the complications on the watch face as much as I can. With the date and time in the top right, on the top left, I put my fitness rings. Below that, the largest complication on the face, I have the chance of rain over the next few hours. On the bottom row, I have 3 more complications, with a compass on the bottom left, air quality index in the bottom right, and the workout button in the middle. It's definitely a crowded watch face, with a lot of small information, but it works for me. One of the features of the Apple Watch that Apple brought over to the iPhone 14 Pro this year is the always-on display. Plenty of people like having their watch always display their watch face, and I think that's understandable. It would be annoying to glance at your watch to find the time, only for the screen to be turned off and having to perform a more pronounced hand gesture just to get it to light up. But that hasn't been my experience. The watch has done well enough detecting when I raise it to look at it that I decided to turn off the always-on display in order to save that little bit of extra battery. That's not to say that battery life is a problem. The watch lasts me all day, and the night of sleep tracking, no problem. I tend to charge it when I'm working or when I'm showering, and it charges up quickly enough that I haven't had any issues with battery life. Now, I could enable low power mode on it if needed, as that has come to all the watches with watchOS 9, but I haven't made use of it yet. My one annoyance with the watch so far is the keyboard. It's nearly impossible to try to type out a response. Thankfully, it's easy enough to hit the mic button to start dictation when the keyboard opens up, and then I can send the message, but I would really like to be able to set dictation as my default method of typing due to how small the screen is. I've really enjoyed my time with the Apple Watch so far. While the Series 8 may not be a huge breakthrough or major redesign, it has definitely been a positive addition to my life. It may not be worth an upgrade from a Series 7 or maybe even a Series 6, but from a first-time smartwatch user's perspective, I have very little to complain about. With all things considered, I probably could have gotten away with an Apple Watch SE. The cheaper watch doesn't offer an always-on display, blood oxygen sensor, or ECG, but it comes in at a significantly lower price and still brings most of the features that I use on a daily basis. Instead though, I've decided to give the Apple Watch Ultra a try, to see how I feel about Apple's big new wearable. I already took a look inside the watch, and I like it so far, but if you want to hear my full thoughts and a comparison to the Apple Watch Series 8, subscribe to the channel, because there is plenty more to come. Let me know down in the comments if you have a favorite feature of your Apple Watch, especially if it's one I didn't mention. If you liked this video, consider leaving it a like, and thanks for watching 9 to 5 Mac.